Okay, great.
All right, we are recording.
Hello and welcome, everybody. I am Aleeza Ben Shalom, known as the Marriage-Minded Mentor. I work as a dating and relationship coach. I work with singles of all ages and all backgrounds who are marriage-minded. That is my specialty. And I absolutely love what I do. I have a whole team of coaches. In addition to everything, I have programs online, coaching one-on-one. There's a whole series of things that we can do. But tonight we're going to do something super special. And I would love to introduce my co-host tonight, Sara Kupfer. She is known as the Fit Jewess. She is an online sensation. If you don't know about her, you should check out her posts because she posts things. She's like, it's just something I was thinking about, and it like explodes, and there's like 200 people that are like and commenting, and she writes articles and they also explode and go viral. And she has a lot of awesome information to talk to us about, specifically related to body positive image. And I'm gonna throw it over to you to like give the full on what you do and how you do it. Tell us, please.
Sure. So I work with Orthodox single women, and we basically walk through the process of rejecting diet culture, getting out of that space of you need to look a certain way because someone arbitrarily decided that, and focus on positive body image and developing habits of health that are overall healthy, not just physically, not just mentally, not just emotionally, but everything all together. And I personally have been dating for 10 years. I recently got engaged, but I was dating for 10 years. Yeah, that's totally all Aleeza. She was my dating coach.
I was her coach.
My dating coach. She told me, she's like, so I actually work with Aleeza also. I help her out with marketing and such. And she told me, she's like, I promise if you hang around me, you're going to get engaged. So we started working, I think in like summer-ish.
Yeah, August.
Yeah.
July, August.
And I actually met my now fiance in July, and she literally walked me through the whole process.
Because you didn't think he was your fiance when you first met him.
No, I did not. And one of the things that I noticed was that I was constantly being told that I needed to lose weight in order to get dates, and that people had, oh, the perfect guy for me, but you know, he wants someone thinner. So if you would just lose weight, then I can set it up. And so my experience really shaped how my relationship with my body and with dating and all that stuff. And it's, you know, kind of something a little bit passionate about, kind of like Aleeza said, this is something that I love doing and I really enjoy it. And we thought it would be fun to come on together. I usually moderate Aleeza's webinars, and we thought it would be fun to kind of try this out.
Okay, great. So if you have any questions, I see somebody posted one in the Q&A box. If you have any questions for us, you can throw them there. And I have a list right here. Actually, we're going to do an intro talk first, and then we'll get to all the questions. Okay.
All right. I just need to give a huge shout out. Jolie's on here. She is from Toronto. I know her. Her daughter. What? I think I just.
She knows me. We're connected.
What? Are you serious?
Yeah.
Before you knew her. But yeah, okay, we'll talk about that later. All right. So do you want me to just get started?
Yes.
Alrighty, awesome.
I'm gonna also just grab my water.
You do that. You can still see me, right?
Mm-hmm.
Good.
I mean, you've got a lovely glare on your face from your computer, but it's fine.
I know. It's really annoying because I have anti-glare coating, but I got the blue screen coating also, which means, remember I was getting headaches all the time? And I said,
now you don't get them?
I don't get headaches anymore. When I forget and I put on the wrong pair of glasses, I do, but I don't get the headaches, but it means you get this super ugly glare. So I apologize about that. Too
bad. We're fine.
Right. Okay. So first of all, I want to start this off by saying that I know we live in a world that is constantly telling us to be smaller, to be less than. So for the next hour and a half, for the duration of this webinar, I want you to just get really comfortable and take up as much space as you feel like taking. So we have a problem. And the problem is that there seems to be this understanding that in order to get quality dates, a person must be thin. I'm going to preface this by saying that I am a woman and I work primarily with women. And my experience has been hearing feedback mostly from women. That's the research that I do whenever I'm working on a project. So everything I'm saying is equally relevant to men and women. But if I slip by mistake and I like single out women, what I'm saying is not just for women. It really is all across the board. We usually hear about it more from women, but many men have reached out to me to share that they have similar experiences.
And I can say that that's true because I work with men and women, and this is not just a female issue. This is a universal issue.
Yeah. All right. So we have this understanding in the shit-off world that someone has to be thin in order to get a quality date. I find that it's very much a part of our culture. For me, it's like Shabbos, kashrus. I grew up, everyone around me dieting, everyone around me telling me you need to be thin. And especially as I neared the end of high school and seminary, there were definitely those messages coming up more and more and more often. So the seemingly appropriate solution would be to just diet and lose weight in order to be the quote unquote right size that you are supposed to be. Except it's not the right approach. I call it the fake solution. And the reason that it doesn't work is because diets are based on the premise that you are supposed to be a certain weight. Think about this for a second. Actually, can you just really quickly in the chat box drop down what's your shoe size? Just put in a number and hit send. Whoa.
I'm a 6.5 if you want to know.
6.5, 7, 8, 9, 5, 8, 9, 7, 9.5, 8.5, 9, 7.5, 9, 7, 6, 6.5, 8.5, 6.5, 7, 7.5, American 10, 8.5, 11, 6, 9, 8.5, 8, 7.5. Imagine if I told you that the right shoe size to be is an 8. So if you're 8, you nailed it on the head. Good job. If you're an 11, I don't care what you do, figure it out, but you got to shrink it to an 8. And Aleeza, sorry, you got to stress that out to an 8. Like,
okay, wait, you know, in certain cultures that they used to bind their feet, right, in order to shrink them to the proper shape and size, so they should have a petite looking foot. You're
yeah, I'm familiar.
Spot on with this.
Yeah. Or can we get height really quickly? What's your height?
5.5 inches. Half, not 5'5", 5 feet and half.
We get 5'2", 5'3", 5'4", 5, 5'3", 5'5", 5'3", 6, 4'8", 5'5", 5'11", all over. We got a 5'9", 5'2", 5'4". I am
Mindy, you're my twin over there. 5 feet and a half an inch.
Yeah. Again, imagine if I said to you, FYI, 5'6" is the right height that you're supposed to be. So if you're taller, I don't care what you do, shrink yourself. If you're shorter, I don't care what you do, grow yourself. But that's pretty much what we're doing with weight. So dieting to be a certain weight implies that everyone is supposed to be a certain weight. Just like God created you with a different shoe size than me, and just like God created you with a different height than me, He created you a different weight than me, and me a different weight from the next person. There isn't one size fits all for weight. It just doesn't work that way. So what happens when you diet is essentially you're going against your body's nature and trying to change something that isn't supposed to be changed. 95% of people who go on a diet gain back the weight that they lost, and up to 2/3 gain back more than they lost. Why? Because your body's not designed to function that way. And the reason that we do that is our bodies respond to restriction by binging. That's the typical normal response. I am a super classic example of someone who falls into the 2/3 category. Every time I went on a diet, I always gained back more than I lost. And so sometimes I like sit back and look at my pictures from 10th grade for me is the year where I lost a lot of weight on a specific diet and got the most compliments ever, and still was told by certain family members that I was not small enough and I just had to lose 5. Ever notice how it's like always just 5 more pounds? You look amazing, but just 5 more pounds would really make all the difference in the world. I can never hit the just 5 more because every time it's always just 5 more. But I think back to what if I would have stopped dieting when I was in 10th grade? I would definitely be thinner than I am now, just because every time I went on a diet, I gained back more weight. You know the concept calories in, calories out? We didn't do the raise hand function. I love the raise hand function. Okay, we're not gonna do it now, but I'm sure you're familiar with the calories in, calories out concept, which sounds like it makes sense on the surface, but I want you to think about it as if it was a car. We can still raise our hands. I want you to think about it as if it's a car. Gas in, the car goes, no gas, car doesn't go, right? Seems to make sense. Last year, I road tripped from LA to New Jersey when I moved. And when I was getting ready, it was not enough that I just had enough gas in my car. I went to get my tires checked. I went to get my transmission checked. I needed an oil change. I got new brake pads. There were so many things that I had to get checked out. Hold on. You need to stop coughing. I'm coughing?
Yes.
It's so annoying. There are so many things that I needed to get checked out in order to make sure that my car will run properly. Not only that, I had to know the terrain I was going on. I had to know the weather, because that would all make a difference in terms of what gear I was using, in terms of, could I use the AC if it's 100 degrees outside and I'm going up a hill? Probably not the best idea. So there's really so much more than just gas in, gas out. Also think about this. I have a Mazda 3. Aleeza, what do you have?
I have a minivan,
You have a hybrid.
Honda Odyssey. Well, I have a hybrid also. I have we have the family car and then the other car, a Toyota Avalon. It's a hand-me-down. Okay. It's a good hand-me-down.
Let's pretend it wasn't a hybrid, and let's just pretend that both of our gas tanks held the same. Oh no, hybrid is fine. Let's assume our gas tanks are the same, right? So we can each fit the same amount of gas in our car. If we both start at the same place, we're gonna get to such different places. Mostly because you're a hybrid, but even if you weren't a hybrid, we wouldn't end up at the exact same spot, because there's so much of how the car functions that has different mileage output, right? Think of that like metabolism. Our bodies are so complex, and yes, God designed each and every one to work at a standard, but the little details are different. And so how I process my foods and how weight sits on my body and how much fat I need to function at an optimal state is not going to be the same for the next person. With me so far?
No, Shoshana's asking, what does a car have to do with weight?
So my point with the car,
summarize it for us.
Using a car as a analogy, an analogy, if you will. This idea that if we eat a certain amount of food, it goes back to dieting. The super, super basic premise is if you eat a certain amount of calories and you have a certain amount of caloric output, you can lose weight. If you're eating less than if you're consuming less calories than you're getting out, you're gonna automatically lose weight. And my point is that that's not true, because there's so much more involved. Also, from a scientific mathematical standpoint, it doesn't work, and there's a super cool reason, but it's way too sciencey for me. But this is a lot simpler. There's so much more to just what you eat and the calories that you expend. There's so much more to that, because our bodies function on a much more complex scale. Did that summarize it?
Yeah, and if we don't think that dieting is the solution to your dating problem, then the question stands, what's the solution and where do we go from here?
Great question. And the first thing that I want to focus on, that I want to bring up, is that, yes, I will agree that people in larger bodies do get fewer dates. With that said, they don't get fewer marriages. And so the thing that I found most important for me to remember is to keep in mind that God has my address. He knows who's the right man for me, and he will send him at the right time. I don't need to date just for the heck of it. Yes, it's hurtful and it's painful when you are not dating and all your friends are dating and all you're being told is, sorry, you're just too big for us. But the bottom line is that there is someone out there for you, and he will come at the right time. She will come at the right time. And it's not the number of dates that's going to get you to the marriage. Aleeza, what are your thoughts on that? What do you say?
I say that it's true because I've worked with a lot of singles, and they are of all shapes and all sizes. I had a client once and somebody was like, well, you're never going to help her get married. She's huge, Aleeza. She's like 300 pounds. And I was like, why would she not be able to get married? What's the problem? Like, her soulmate's created. He's here on earth. He exists. I know that there's the possibility of them finding each other. They're like, well, how are you going to do that? And I was like, well, I'm going to do coaching with her. I'm going to do what I normally do. And she's going to search for him. And if she hasn't found them yet, maybe it hasn't been the right timing. And just because you're not getting a date doesn't mean that the right person isn't on their way. And I do know that it's frustrating to go through the process and to feel like nothing's happening, but it is possible that something is happening behind the scenes. And I've seen plenty of people of all different shapes and sizes get dates, but also, like you said, get married. So even if you have fewer dates, we don't need more dates. We just need more quality dates. And the more quality the dates are, the more likely you are to find the right person.
The one thing that frustrates me with the reality is that people of all shapes and sizes get married, like you said. The thing that I find really frustrating is that we don't see so much representation of those people, because that's like not the societal, that's not the norm. That's accepted. That's not an accepted norm. And so those are not the pictures that we're seeing on a day-to-day basis, but they exist and they're getting married. And I just wish that there were more pictures floating around on social media. And I don't mean like specifically fat positive accounts, like on a regular Simcha account. Why aren't we seeing more pictures of the bigger people that are getting married? That just is a little pet peeve of mine.
Okay. Terry is just making a comment that this isn't like something new or revolutionary. She's saying what she's hearing us say is like, oh, this is just have a muna. So first I want to address that point that this isn't just, oh, just have a muna, your person is out there. We have to do the work of trying to find the right person, and also to know, again, what we said, which is you don't need a quantity of dates. We need quality dates, and we need the right types of people. And so if you're not finding the right types of people, then I would work on, like, our goal is to say, you don't need to lose weight to find the right types of people. And I think a lot of people send a message that you do need to lose weight to find somebody. And that's not what I found to be true with my coaching. I'm sorry, I see that you're writing that it sounds hurtful to you, and I'm sorry that that's how it's hitting you. But obviously we come from the most sincere, genuine place where our goal is to be here to support people and to share the experiences that we've had and to help people through the process. This topic happens to be a very heated, hot topic. We considered not even doing it because, yes, it can upset people or offend people, but I hope that people sincerely know and genuinely know where we're coming from and can connect to that from a real level. And let's talk a little, I think we should dig into the questions that people are asking and start to move through that so that we can hop right in. So Sara, we're going to start with you.
One second, before you get to the question, I actually just want to add one more point. which I found, like, this was just what I did. I got to a point where I realized that every shadchan was telling me I needed to lose weight. And when I went to singles events, I felt really, really uncomfortable. I felt like I was just being looked right over. And I have a personality and I know how to hold a conversation and I'm comfortable with, you know, conversing with guys. That's not an issue for me. And I found every single time it was just like, whoop. And at first I thought like, okay, maybe it's just me. And I bounced the idea off of some friends, and some of my thinner friends actually said like, yeah, we noticed that. Like when we go to an event with a friend who's in a larger body, we notice that that's the same experience that they're having. It's not in your head. But even if it was just my projection, I felt bad about the experience. I don't think that was conducive to my dating. So I chose to turn to other platforms. I started dating online more, signing up for online sites. I reached out to more friends and said, hey, would you set me up? I took it to social media. I put myself out there, let people know that I was available and that I was looking to get married. Everyone has something that they're more comfortable with or less comfortable with. I think it's really important to stop, take a step back, say, how is this making me feel? And then to choose, am I going to, how am I gonna move forward with my dating? Where am I gonna put my attention and date in a way that makes me feel good and builds me up rather than leaves me feeling blah every time.
Okay, so on that note, there's a question that's been like, you know, I second, I third that question.
Yeah,
how do larger daters get around this shadchan standard? How do they, because you're saying your way around it was, you know what, I'm not going to go to a shadchan because that system didn't work for me. I'm going to go elsewhere. So that's one way to get around it. If somebody says, no, but I want to go through a shadchan, then what's your advice for how to get around that?
Okay. I'm going to be fully transparent and say I'm still looking for the perfect answer. I don't have the perfect answer for that. I am also in the process of curating a list of shadchanim that are comfortable working with people of all sizes and will not body shame them. That list is not very long yet, but I hope that it'll grow. But I think there are a few ways of approaching it. Number one, you could be really upfront. You could say, there's so many possible scenarios, but let's assume that the shadchan says something or they don't say something, but you can tell from the way they're looking at you that they want to say something. I would say either I'm not looking to change my body. If you are willing to set me up, great. If not, just give me a heads up so I know to look somewhere else. I think it takes guts to say that, but it lets them know that you're confident in who you are and that you're looking for a quality date. And if they're not going to give that to you, don't lead me on. Your job is not to educate shadchanim. It's not fair. It's not the way it should be. And yet this is our reality. So if you're comfortable doing that, I would share an article or two. I've written a couple articles specifically about size in shidduchim. I know other people have as well. Again, so none of them, this I can tell you for a fact, shadchanim are not coming from a place of trying to be mean or malicious. They do genuinely have your best interest in mind. A lot of them are just really ignorant and don't know any better. And
I want to just interrupt and say on behalf of the shadchanim, there's a couple on this chat here. They're asking, how can we better set people up who are in this position, and how do we get them more dates? So I think there's some people that don't, like there's a box of people that don't know, or there's a certain culture that they're involved in that leads them to say, okay, you have to be a certain size for us to be able to set you up with. And there's other people who are like, we want to set everybody up. We want there to be equal opportunity to get dates, and how can we have better success at setting people up, and what are some tools that we can, tools or tips or resources, or what advice do you have for helping to make a better setup?
And I can also say that a lot of, as we're actually starting to have this conversation and we're actually addressing it, I have a lot of shadchanim are asking what they can do and how they can respond to this. I did a webinar for a whole group of shadchanim who wanted to know, okay, what do we do? How do we approach this? So it's a hard conversation to have because you shouldn't have to have it. It's not fair that it's your responsibility now to educate someone who is stuck in the same society that we are. But if that's something you're comfortable with, that's what I would say. I really wish I had an easier response or something that is less humiliating. But right now that's where we're at. And if you can think about it from this perspective, like it's not just for yourself, it's for everyone else who's going to come along in the same position as you. I don't know.
So I'm just going to say this. We had somebody write in, let me just see where the question is. And he said, I am a guy who's attracted to a healthy, full-figured, plus-size woman, and I'm wondering if these women realize that we exist. We men like this exist. So I'm not sure if you or everybody on the webinar is aware of this, but there are sometimes these groups, but like even like whatever, social media or other groups of men that are looking for larger women. It's their thing. It's what they like. They do not like skin and bones and thin women. It's not something that they're comfortable with, and it's not something that they're attracted to. And there is a guy that enjoys that body type. There are also plenty of men who are happy with women of all different shapes and sizes. And something that I found when I have coached some of my singles is that if they're in a place of feeling down about this, it shows right here. It shows in their eyes, which kind of like have a little bit of a sad look. It shows in their face because they don't smile as much. Because if you perceive that somebody else is going to perceive you in a negative way or not be able to support you, you kind of don't come with that positive attitude. And I remember working with one woman, and I told her, first of all, she started posting on social media. She started posting smiles, like big, beautiful, gorgeous, light up the screen smiles. And I wrote to her and I was like, I love your smile. You look so happy. I don't know what you're doing or where you are in life or what's going on, but you are just radiant. You are like, you're glowing. And whatever that is that you're doing, just take that face and that smile and that energy with you when you meet singles, when you meet matchmakers, when you're in touch with the world, because somebody's going to recognize you and see you because you're in this comfortable, confident, healthy, emotionally grounded space. And I could see it. It's written all over your face. And she started to do that. And she told me that it really started to make a significant impact on her dating. And that was a tool that for her was like, it shifted because she didn't realize that she hadn't had that smile for so long. And it really made a big difference for her.
Nice. You said something that I actually wanted to respond to, and I see that someone else actually pointed out in the chat. I have no problem with people utilizing Facebook groups or any dating groups specifically for a bigger woman. If that works for you, go for it. But I just want to say, like, it's not a fetish. Just the thought process that someone who likes, like if someone likes a thin person, you know, that's normal. If they like if they specifically are attracted to fatter people, that's considered a fetish. Oh, by the way, I didn't say this, but I know a lot of you don't know me. Fat, I have totally neutralized the term fat for me. I do not mean it in a derogatory way in any way, shape, or form. I use the word fat the same way I do short or tall or anything else. But it's not an okay thing that if someone's just specifically attracted to fatter people, that it's like considered a fetish. And I just want to put it out there because, again, like I feel like a lot of these things just need to be acknowledged because it's just not fair. Like I'm not here to like put, you know, roses and butterflies and everything. Like some things just suck because that's the reality we live in. And the goal is to move towards a healthier society. But it'll take time. God willing, we'll get there.
Okay. I also want to acknowledge something came in that somebody was asking, did this woman that I was working with reveal what she did to get that smile on her face? So one of the things that I was coaching her on that we spoke about was to start just not hyper focusing on dating because she had enough energy that she had already put into dating, and she started focusing on building herself up, making her happy, doing activities, hobbies, interests. I suggested taking a vacation and doing things that were self-care for her, and also doing dating things. But instead of making dating the hyper-focused thing that she was doing, we made her the hyper-focused thing that she was doing. And dating was like around her. It was like what was also happening. And she just started to embrace who she was. And to me, I feel like she fell in love with herself again, right? Like she started to enjoy her own company. She started to do the things that made her happy. She wasn't putting her life on hold for anybody else, and she wasn't waiting for somebody to come in to just make the perfect picture. She was going to be in a really fabulous place, and then that right person would be drawn to her and they would find each other. So that was what she did.
I think that reminds me, like when the comment about, you know, this is just about Amuna, and it is a big part, not it just is, it is a big part of this is Amuna and believing that that person exists and that at the right time you'll find them. But I really do think it's more than that. And it's hard. This part's hard because it's not like you can say, put yourself on 3 dating sites and check them 4 times a week, and within 6 months you'll have 6 offers. Like, I can't tell you that. What I can say is that the more comfortable that you get, the healthier your relationship with your body, the more confident you will feel, the more others will see that, the more you will attract people around you. There will always be people who are just gonna say that's not for me, 100%. But the more that you work on your relationship with yourself, the more that you are comfortable in your own skin and comfortable in your own body, that comes off. Not just that, it's not just about how others perceive you, it's about how you see yourself. And the more confident you are in yourself, the more confident you will come to be that there is someone out there who will love you as you are at your current size. And that's going to make the process a lot easier. It doesn't mean you're going to get more dates, but it will be a far more enjoyable process. Does that make sense?
Yeah, solid. Okay, shall we keep moving with questions? Do you have one there, or you want me to throw out a question?
You do one and then I'll throw one out.
Okay, so this came up. Should I be concerned about a guy's weight as a potential health issue?
Okay, I love that question. The answer is no. Should you be concerned about health issues? Yes. His weight is not a direct indication of his health. That's number one. Very often, not very often, often we do see that weight gain or a bigger size is a symptom or is in some way correlated to a disease. That does not mean that it caused it. Doesn't mean that being fat is a cause of a disease, but sometimes it's a symptom or it's just a correlation. I don't think there's a problem with bringing up health as a topic of conversation, especially if it's something that's common in his family. Either you'll notice that everyone in his family has a specific health issue, or you'll notice that no one in the family has a health issue, and that it really has nothing to do with his weight. So health is always a great topic of conversation to bring up. But I believe it's super important to have with everyone, whether they're fat or thin, large or small. And I think that we've been conditioned to believe that fatter means more unhealthy. And so that's when it usually comes up. But it's always a great topic of conversation to talk about.
Great, thank you. Do you want to throw out a question from the Q&A?
Yes, I do.
Chat box?
I do, and I totally blanked. There was one that I had here that I wanted to ask you. I know I lost it.
I also like what Michelle said in the comment box. I'll read that while you're looking for a question. It says, it can be a bit tiresome to think that you have to change people's minds and to help them accept how you look. I like the idea better to change how you see yourself and to, hold on, and and lose the old thought process and change the idea that having a date ain't possible. Because it is possible, and you will get a date, and you will email me and tell me that you found him or her, and I will be so happy for you, because it's true.
All right, Aleeza, this one's for you. Can you address the focus of pictures and always looking for, this is coming from a woman, I guess, of always looking for, guys always looking for a pretty girl, and everyone having definitions of that?
Oh man. So this pretty girl syndrome, by the way, it's funny to me. It's like, it's a joke sometimes. People believe there are people that are objectively beautiful, right? So you could show it to 100 people and 100 people are going to say, yes, that person is beautiful. And I've had photos of guys or girls, both, that maybe we would put in that category of objectively beautiful. And I've had people come and they're like, well, you know, somebody gave me this, you know, profile and like she's not my type. And I'm like, wait a minute, do you not think she's beautiful? Or do you not think he's handsome? And they're like, no. And I'm like, are you kidding? Like, doesn't everybody think that? And they're like, no. And I was like, my brain is expanding. They're like, Aleeza, everybody has their type and style. I'm like, that's not mine. It could be a totally thin, whatever, somebody that you look at it and be like, oh, for sure, they always get deep. Nobody ever turns them down. I'm telling you, people turn them down because they run the ideas past me and we talk about it. And sometimes it's based on a photo. It is not based on a personality. It's not based on a background. It's not based on anything. It's just based on, whoop, did my screen freeze? Yeah, I think I did.
You're frozen, but I still hear you.
Yeah, you know why? Because I was smart this time. I hooked it up to my phone so you wouldn't lose me, but my screen froze. So hold on, I'll log it back on. But it's shocking that, to some people, it's shocking that, you know, you'd think, oh, now I'm totally gone.
No. Oh.
All right, you know what? Well, you can hear me, but I just have to log back in.
You're there.
Okay.
You're there.
It's just, okay, I know, but it's going to be slow. It's not on the right internet. Here we go. Hold on. I'm choosing the right one now. Connect. Hang on. Sorry, everybody. Okay. Maybe later somebody who's a technical guru will tell me how to make my computer stop logging off of the right internet, because it bothers me. Anyway, there's not somebody who's objectively beautiful for everybody and who's the only right person. So let's go back to the question. I'm sorry. Can you just refresh me? I want to answer the specific question and not talk around it.
Yeah. Can you address the focus of guys looking for a pretty girl and having different definitions of that?
Right. So if somebody's not their look, it's just not their look. Like Sara said, like tall, short, brown hair, black hair, blonde hair, blue eyes, like whatever. Everybody has these things that they prefer. So sometimes I describe it like this. You go to the fridge, you take something out of the fridge, you smell it. It might be delicious and amazing, but to you, it's like, ooh, or what's that food? Is it cilantro that some people taste it and it tastes like soap to them, and other people, they're like, ooh, it's this amazing spice. Is that it? Or cumin, it smells like dirty socks. You know what I'm talking about? Right? So I happen to love cilantro and I love cumin, and I don't think it smells like dirty socks, and I don't think it tastes like soap. But other people, my husband can't stand cumin, and when I cook with it, he's like, oh, what is that? I'm like, it's amazing. It's dinner. And he's like, I'm not eating that. It's the same way with looks. It's just like sometimes people look at people and it's just like, if they just have a reaction that it's not good or bad, it's just not for me. It doesn't mean inherently there is anything wrong with you. It doesn't mean inherently that you are any less beautiful. It just means that's not my style, that's not my taste. If you think of other things in the world, like certain things we're drawn to and certain things we're not. Vanilla ice cream, chocolate, Rocky Road, you know, like everybody has their flavor of what they like. Is one bad? No, it's all ice cream. It's amazing, except for the lactose intolerant like me. And then you have like your coconut flavored ice cream. But there's all these amazing things, and it's good from good, but it's just good from good, but not my preference. It's not my preference. It doesn't mean it's bad. It doesn't mean it's ugly. It's just not my preference. And if somebody says to you, like, you're not my, like, I don't prefer you, you're not my style, thank you for clearing that up, because I'm not marrying somebody who thinks that. I'm going to go find the right person for me. So that's how I would address it. if you can kind of hold your own and feel very strong and confident about that, that would be amazing. It's just like everybody has their style. Everybody has their thing that works for them.
Awesome. I want to pull a question, and I see there's a whole side conversation going on in the chat, and I'm going to address the two of them together. So the question is coming from Ashadkhin. How do I navigate dealing with a network where one of the first things I hear when I talk to the guys is I don't want a larger woman? And how do I handle a woman who's constantly rejected due to her weight and then asking me why I'm not sending them any potential matches? So I'm going to answer the second part first, and I'm going to say, tell her. If you are not giving her suggestions because she is constantly being rejected for her size, if you are dealing primarily with guys who are asking for thin women, let her know so she can move on to someone else. If that's, again, if you sometimes have guys who are okay with it, great. But it sounds like you're dealing with a population that's primarily not open to it. Don't lead her on. It's the suckiest feeling, and I can say this from so much experience, to go from because I used to do this. I used to go from Shadchan to Shadchan to Shadchan to Shadchan, and not one of them did I get a suggestion from. I do believe they suggested me to guys. I'm going to assume, I would like to assume, because I want to give them benefit of the doubt, and assume that it was the guy who said no. But it's really just an ugly feeling, especially if you are the kind of shopper who works more closely with clients and you do have that relationship. It's just not fair for them to be sitting on their hands waiting if you can't help them. Again, it's not your fault, but be upfront with them. The first part of your
question, I think also the way that you say it, like the way that I would express that is, I have, made suggestions, but I haven't gotten any yeses, as of yet. And I'm assuming it's all due to weight and not due to, well, I'm not available, but I'll consider it later. Because sometimes it's not due to weight, it is due to I'm not available, or there's other things that are going on in my life.
Right. The first part of your question and this whole side conversation happening about this is more of an issue in the ultra-Orthodox right-wing yeshivish community is true. That is true. The more right-wing you go, the more of a value it seems to be, which is totally incongruent with our actual values, so it doesn't make any sense. This is more for Shadchanim, but a couple people submitted questions earlier asking how they as Shadchanim can help people in this situation, and I want to say this. Have a conversation with the men, have a conversation with the guys. So many of them are doing this because they don't know any better. They believe that the norm is thin because that's the community that they grew up in. That's what they heard their mothers talking about. That's what they heard their sisters talking about. To them, anything other than that is not right. Have a conversation with them. Ask them if they've ever gone out with someone in a larger body. Ask them what that experience was like. Sometimes they're uncomfortable because they think they're supposed to be uncomfortable. Sometimes they had a bad experience that had nothing to do with the person's weight. She just wasn't a good date. They just didn't have a good time together, but in his mind, he's just associated it with the image of her, and so he's lumping them together, and that may not be true. So having that conversation could be really helpful. This makes me really sad, but it is also true that guys sometimes are attracted to bigger women and say no because of they don't like the idea of how their parents or siblings or friends will react. This one's the worst because it's not something that should be a factor in whether they're choosing to date or not. But you as an objective third party, bringing this up as a conversation piece, like did your mother ever talk about, needing to lose weight for dating when you were at home? Was that something? They're literally having these little conversations and planting the idea in their head that this is not a bad thing could go a really, really, really long way.
Yeah, and I see Stacy commenting that it's not an Orthodox issue only. Correct. I work with singles from all different backgrounds, and I also work with matchmakers from all different backgrounds. So even in the secular world and beyond, the Jewish world, the non-Jewish world, because I'm interconnected with a large group of matchmakers, everybody experiences the same thing. So it's not a Jewish issue, it's not an Orthodox issue, it's just a worldwide issue that everybody faces, and and we're just here to help be a part of the problem solving solution end so that everybody can find the person, because your person is here. I'm going to remind you of that a couple times just to like put that in the heart.
I do feel really strongly that Shadchanim have the opportunity to be a voice that they didn't hear growing up. And I know, speaking to Shadchanim, a lot of them are uncomfortable being that voice because their reputation, and if they suggest this and then they're going to go somewhere else, and what are other people going to say about them? And like, I'm just going to say, you have an incredible opportunity. I understand that. I understand the reputation thing. This is a big deal. But please make it a conversation, because you can help. You really can.
Okay. So I am going to ask this to you because I think that you do this very well, and I want you to tell us your secrets. So this question's written in, how do I feel confident in the dating scene when I do not have the ideal body type? And I have to tell you personally, from seeing you in all different scenes, in large public group settings, to me, you walk around with a warm smile, a lot of confidence, and I think that you approach people in such a way that it's so engaging. It's like, how could I not talk to her? She's awesome. So can you tell us a little bit about this confidence and how you carry it with you?
This is kind of an unfair question because I don't really get the credit for this. A lot of it goes to my parents. Like, they just built me up as a kid. Like, I never questioned the possibility that I can do anything I wanted and go for anything I wanted. So I definitely had that working for me, that I had this healthy self-esteem. Coming onto the dating scene sucked because I was constantly getting told you're not good enough. I had friends that I wanted, like I can specifically think of over time 2 or 3 friends that I wanted to date who said, you know, I like your personality and I date you if you were thinner. They each brought their biases with them. One had a specific scenario where like his grandmother happened to be fat and happened to be really sick. And so he has this like thing that anyone who's slightly bigger than thin is going to like have health issues for life. It sucks. And there are definitely moments where I allow myself to feel that insecurity because it never goes away completely. But overall, I knew I was an awesome person. I know I'm an awesome person. I know what I'm bringing to the table. I know that I'm going to be an incredible wife, and I know that I'm going to be an amazing mother. And I did have, for me, the piece of like believing the Amunah piece was real for me. Like, I genuinely believe that he exists, and working with you definitely reinforced that, that he exists. He's in this world. It's just a matter of time. And so as long as I was able to focus on that, I felt comfortable being me. I wasn't there to convince anyone of anything. And I also, one of the best pieces of advice I got, I don't think that this has nothing to do with size specifically, but it worked for me in that way. Someone asked me, when you go on a date, are you first trying to like make like, you know, impress them and you know, let them know that you're like worthy marriage material, or are you trying to see if they're good enough for you? And like thinking I like to be right. So thinking I had the right answer, I was like, of course I'm first seeing, you know, like putting it out there that I'm marriage material and I'm cool and awesome and solid and whatever else. And they were like, that's not what the first few dates should be about. You just need to see, do you enjoy spending time with them? Are they someone that you could potentially see in your life for the long term? And all of a sudden it went from, without even realizing I was doing this, I would like answer a question that my date asked. And if he disagreed with me, I would like, you know, by the way, disclaimer, you know, if you want to do it this way, we could do it that way. Like, I found myself trying to fit into his idea of what he wanted totally without realizing it. And once I made that shift, I don't have to prove myself to anyone. I know who I am. I know what I bring to the table. I believe he's there. At the right time, he'll recognize it. I don't need to prove myself to someone who's not open to recognizing what I have to offer. Did that answer the question?
Yes. And I also, first of all, I don't know if I gave you that advice, but that's my same advice.
No, it wasn't actually. It was
okay.
You, yeah.
Okay. Okay. So I also follow up with just really infusing people with, I don't actually care if they like you. I only care if you like them, because I'm only curious if you like them. Because if you like them, then it's going to be worthwhile to know if they actually like or are into you. But if you don't, if you're too busy looking to see if they like you and you don't know if you like them, we don't care if they like you. They're not worthwhile until to you they become valuable. So when you stop focusing on just putting on a show and you start being really present, then you're able to see if you like and enjoy the person that you're with. And it just changes it. It changes everything. And it does change the way people experience a date and walk away. And then when they walk away from a date and we have a conversation and they're like, well, I think they liked me. I'm like, nah. They're like, oh, wait. I don't know. I'm not really sure if I like them. I'm like, then I don't care if they liked you. Like they could be madly in love with you. And if you don't like them, it makes no difference. So like, how did you experience them? How were they for you?
Right. So someone brought up a really good point, and she said, I'm really sorry, but this conversation just brought up a lot of negatives. So far, I've heard majority of Shadchanim don't work, singles events don't work. Then it seems that there's no solution other than to lose weight. I'm so happy you're engaged, but I don't see how girls are supposed to make any progress. So first of all, I want to...
Okay, wait. I'm sorry, I got to jump in. How many people meet at an event, right? I used to, in the old days, we would throw events and we would have 50, 60, 70, 80 people at an event. How many people do you think are actually going to meet at an event? You think one couple, maybe two couple out of 80 people in a room? Thin, fat, short, tall, pretty, ugly, I don't care. One couple is going to walk away from that event, okay? Shadchanim, they're also making matches. And for every match that they're making, how many are they not making? There's so many things that also don't work. Online, for how many singles does it work and it's fantastic, and for how many people doesn't it work? So there's so many different avenues for dating, and so many of them, we say dating is as hard as splitting the sea. It's finding the right person is the most difficult. Not dating is as hard as splitting the sea. Making a match is as hard as splitting the sea. But it's the most difficult thing probably that we are going to face in our lives. One of the most difficult things. So is it easy to find a match by a matchmaker? No. By a dating event? No. By in-person friend, matches? No. By random online? No. It's not easy anywhere. It doesn't matter what your body shape or size is. Nothing matters. This is the most difficult thing. My question is, how can we make the process a more tolerable process, an easier process? Maybe a process where you could have a smile on your face a little bit more. So if you hate online, then don't do online and try to go through friends or matchmakers. If you're not into friends or matchmakers and you prefer online because you want to be, a little bit more doing your own work and behind the scenes, then do it like that. Like pick the method that you can handle the most and let's run with it. Dating is hard. So that's universal. That has nothing to do with size. Dating is absolutely one of the hardest things in the world. I mean, I'd like to say like finding your marriage partner is the hardest thing because I think it is. I mean, you're going to choose this person to spend the rest of your life with. And not only that, you have to pick them. And then at the same time, they have to pick you. And then you both have to agree. And then you have to bring your family in, so many more people. And then everybody has to get along and make it work. There's just so many things that can go wrong. So yeah. The process is just, I just want to like neutralize the comment because this is not in any way, shape, or form meant to be negative. This is just the process. And so we want to help you figure out the best way for you to go about the process.
Yeah. And I think I'm debating if I should say this or not. I don't know if it's going to bring in more negativity.
Uh-oh, Sarah.
I don't know if we've ever discussed this, but I'm just going to say it. Should I not? Lisa's like,
I don't know what you're going to say. Surprise, everybody. Here we go.
I don't love the shidduch system. I think it worked really well in the past. And I think that it's part of our tradition that we're trying to hold on to, but it hasn't completely, there are parts of it that we've modernized, like the use of pictures, but we haven't totally modernized it enough to where it's a really effective process. And so for me, I kind of look at it like a broken system, and I'm not here to fix a broken system. I think that we could build a better one. I don't know yet what that looks like. And so I'm not here to like will I educate Shadchanim? If a Shadchanim wants to be educated, yes. Am I going to chase them around the world? No. What I can do is help you work on the inside stuff so that it doesn't feel like such a sucky process, so that we do our part, like you said, dating the way that works for you. For me, it was avoiding singles events and Shadchanim, but for you, it might literally be the exact opposite. You might find online dating sucks because it's just about the picture and nothing else. So you might choose to work with Shadchanim, and you might choose to have that conversation with them. And it sounds so like fluffy, like, oh, that's so nice, but what's the tachlis? But really, really working on the inside stuff, getting comfortable with your body, being okay with who you are, makes all the difference. Like, I don't know how to say that in a less fluffy way, but having worked with singles and having clients who are going through the process of letting go of diet culture and learning to explore how to have a healthy relationship with food, with exercise, with health, with themselves, with their bodies, is all stuff that they bring with them into the dating process and makes it a lot easier to handle.
Okay. I see, Hannah. I'm already comfortable and still no dates. Okay, so that happens. It happens with or without weight. And the question is, so what can we do? So when something isn't working and there's no dates, or the dates that are, it's either there's no dates or the dates that are coming in are just not at all what you're looking for. My goal is that we do something different. So when I work with clients, we talk about what you have been doing and how we can shift the dating process for you and try to get different results. So what you're asking is also similar to what somebody asked beforehand, and it says, this one's specifically about dating sites. How do I navigate dating sites? Is my weight the reason that my profile is being automatically rejected? So if you're having like a challenging time getting a yes, then weight or not weight, we don't know what the reason is, but what we want to do is we want to shift the information that's there. So this is also, again, this is advice for this forum, but also for anybody. If you're not getting yeses, you need to, first of all, switch things in your profile. So one of the first things that people switch is their photograph. And the reason is, for any of the dating sites where you are your own matchmaker and you're searching for people, the algorithm changes as soon as you put in a new photo, and the system recognizes it new. And instead of being like the 500th person on the list, you pop up to an earlier number. So it's great. I tell people every 2 or 3 months to change their main profile photo. Preferably one that is not one of your later photos in your batch there, but to actually upload a completely new photo. If I had a client the other day, and she had photos and she's like, Aleeza, I don't like it. I don't like that you can see my double chin. I'm like, you know, when I take pictures from certain angles, also you see my double chin. And sometimes it's the angle of the camera. And so if your camera is slightly below your face like this, then it's going to catch your chin. And if it's slightly either eye level or slightly above, then it's not going to catch your chin and not going to give you the look that you don't want to have. So I'm not advocating changing, shifting, but we all want to put our best foot forward. So in the same way that I would tell you to write and update your written profile and shift what you're saying, I would tell you to do the same thing with photos. And speaking about like written things online, so I am very specific about what people write about themselves, and I don't like those lists. I am a nice, sweet, generous, loving, you know, like all of these adjectives that describe who you are. I want to have something that draws me in. Like if I was opening a book to the first chapter, you want to draw the reader in. I want to draw the reader in the beginning of a profile. And so I really like that we have a hook that draws the reader in, and have a sentence that's a little bit poppy and Shazam. That's like, you know, like opening a champagne bottle that's like, and you're like, whoa, it's a party now. And they read it and they're like, oh, wow, he or she sounds awesome. Wait, what else do they have to say? And so I would tell you to work on those things if you're specifically online. If you're doing things, well, in person or the virtual in person, which is what we're doing now, and you're still not getting dates, it's the same style information, which is make sure that whatever you're saying is something that's going to really draw somebody in. So I would coach people on how to have the conversations that we need to have to build a connection with somebody so that the right person says yes, and then all the wrong people, they say no, and we chase them away. That's my goal.
Awesome. I have a question here that I'm going to throw to you again. How can you be more in the moment and less of a checklist what people may or may not think of my body, and just think I'm allowed to be here and present and take up space? So I think what they're asking is, on a date, how can I allow myself to just be here and not be thinking, like kind of not projecting, not be thinking, what are they thinking about my body? Could you talk about affirmations? Because I feel like that's actually really helpful. And then any other tips that you have here.
Absolutely. So I'm a firm believer in positive affirmations. I grew up with positive affirmations. My mom was one of those, like, affirmation book gurus. She bought a lot of Louise Hay, if you're familiar with Louise Hay. And it's like, they're like vitamins for your brain. So I've never said that before, but I really like that. So it's, right? What we're trying to do is to retrain your brain to see who you are, love who you are, value who you are, so that you can get really comfortable in who you are, so that when you're sitting across the table from somebody, you're not looking down at yourself, because you're not in your body. You're with your body, but you're not like in your body, or you're not like covering up or sitting in one of those like, oh, my belly's showing stages where you're just like not comfortable with who you are. I've seen men sit in kind of like funny cross body positions, and I'm like, oh, he doesn't like his belly. There's something going on there. He's not comfortable with himself. And people can just be comfortable with who they are. And positive affirmations are a great way to retrain your thinking so that you can tap into living your essence, like being who you are, because you are not your body, you're your soul. Your body is a part of who you are within this world, and you carry your essence with you, and you're fabulous. And if you sit there and you're so present in a conversation, and you're looking at people and you're talking to them and you're connecting with them, and even if I don't like you, I don't care if you like me, or even if I do like you, I don't care if you like me. Like, let's just connect. If it works, it's going to work. If it doesn't work, it's not going to work. And it's the same thing. Like, if you think about your body, like your hair, like if you're like, you got a bad haircut, or you're like all subconscious and you're like constantly like playing with your hair all day, because on the date you're feeling, oh my gosh, my hair just doesn't look right. It's the same thing with the body. Like, don't hyper focus on those things that you think aren't perfect and make you uncomfortable. Get comfortable with the uncomfortable, whatever it is. It can be here. Can I tell you one of my personal uncomfortable things? Would you like to, can we get real personal now? I'm going to show you. I don't know if you're going to see it. Yeah. My eyebrow here, which gets half covered up by my bang. No, look, I'm going to show you. Like, it starts to like thin out, it goes down, it goes up, and then I have these wiry eyebrows, and they're always in like different cockamamie directions. And I'm always like, I'm like brushing it, I'm training it, and then I'm talking to people, and I'm like, yeah, you're right. And like, I'm sitting there with it, and now you're looking, you're like, you see there's like that little bump there. What is that? I don't know. I can't get rid of it. Like, I'll just leave the bang half over my eye, and that's fine. You won't. I even switched the side of my part so that you shouldn't see it as much, right? Because I'm uncomfortable with it. Yeah, I'm uncomfortable with it. It bothers me. And the people that know me. Some of them are like, what are you doing to your eyebrow? I'm like, nothing. It's just crooked. It's always crooked, and it's always wrong, and it never lays right. And I could put smear gunk all over it, and it just still never looks right. But the things that we're uncomfortable with, if we hyper focus on it, other people will hyper focus on it, and it'll take us out of the moment. So we always have to work to be in the moment. Imagine if you're doing a presentation for work and you're standing up there and you're too busy, like, did you put on the right outfit today to do the presentation? You're not even thinking about the presentation. We're not present in the moment of the content that you're delivering. I want to know the content. I don't care what vest you put on. Same thing on a date. I really want to know the content, because I'm going to fall in love with who you are. And that's going to come with what you say. And that's going to come with how present you are with me in that moment.
Thanks. I really like that. And I like how practical the like switching your bangs is. Like, yes, we're all about body acceptance and feeling comfortable in your body, but that doesn't mean you're gonna always love everything about it. And that doesn't mean you have to. It's learning how to work with what you've got. So if that means like putting the bangs the other way so it covers half your eyebrow, great. For me, it's heels. Like I call my heels, I think in one of the I Love Lucy's, she like talks about, someone somewhere talks about heels being vitamins. And like literally that's it. When I wear my heels, my posture is better. I feel taller. I just feel like I feel more comfortable in my body. Am I different? No. Am I smaller? No. Am I a different shape? No. I just feel really confident in heels. So I will wear heels on my dates. For some people, it might be a piece of jewelry. It might be the kind of clothes you wear. Some people naturally wear clothes that suit their, you know, their body figure. And some people, you might want to look to outside help if that's something that bothers you. That was one point. And then there was another point. Also, okay, so Aleeza, am I a thinker?
So you are a thinker, my friend. Your brain spins and spins.
My brain is always going, and I have a really hard time being present to the point that I choose one word every year to focus on, and my one word for this year is present. And normally I have a bracelet on, but I actually took it off to put on my collar bracelet. But but I have a bracelet that says present, and so I think sometimes if you're the kind of person that having some sort of physical reminder would be helpful. For me, when I look down and I see present, it grounds me, it brings me back to the moment, and it helps me let go of my thoughts. It doesn't mean that in 5 minutes from now, I won't be back there. But again, it's a look at my bracelet. So if you know you're that kind of person, and if you know that when you're on a date, you're going to be thinking, you know, like, why did I wear this belt? Like now my flab is folding over and like you can't even see the belt and this is super uncomfortable. If you know that you're that kind of person, A, don't wear the belt, but B, have some sort of tactile object that you could look to, feel, reference, even if it's like one finger with like glitter nail polish that you just look at and feel, and whatever it is that just brings you back into the moment. I also find that pretty helpful.
Awesome. Thank you. Tell me more questions that are on the chat, because I want to make sure that we get to a bunch of the things that were asked, if there's anything there that we can both tackle.
This one's a good one. I mean, they're all good. How can we have respectful boundaries that we don't have to explain any health matters or how much we work out and what we eat? Why is knowing that our heart's beating here and now not enough? How can you navigate back to see how well you connect?
Okay, hang on. My video just did. Yeah, I just.
So I'm going to get started until you come back. But I don't think there's a problem with having a health conversation. Like I said earlier, it's not a first, second, or third date conversation necessarily. I think that's something for once you've started developing a relationship. But I think health is a big part of life. You obviously want a life partner who's going to be around for the long term, God willing. Obviously, everything at the end of the day is out of our control, but there's nothing wrong with having a health conversation. If it's a conversation that makes you uncomfortable, I don't know. I'm the kind of person who would just be like, look, that's a conversation I want to have, but not today. Or I don't know, Aleeza, what are your thoughts on this?
How to have this health conversation?
No, this is why do we have to have this conversation? Why can't we have respectful boundaries so that we don't have to explain any health matters? Why is not knowing that we're here and our hearts are beating right now not enough? So how can you navigate back to seeing how well you connect?
Right. So I think there's two things here that we have to break apart. First of all, yes, you should be figuring out how you are connecting. And if you're connected enough after a first date, a second date, a third date, a fourth date, a fifth date, then conversation is going to lead to more deeper types of conversation. So health and weight and other things may come up in the same way that medical history might come up, because people want to know if you have any medical issues or any unusual family history, or we start to get into these like, tell me all the things that I don't know about you yet, and let's talk about those things that are not the things that are so PC or that we don't want to talk about at the beginning of dating. And so I would love it if you could just have a real conversation where you're just, again, comfortable and confident in having that type of a conversation where you're not justifying anything, and not that you're not explaining it. You can have a conversation, schmooze, and talk about it, but like nobody's trying to prove a point in either direction. Like we can schmooze about it, and we can also agree to disagree and have different opinions, and still make something work, which I think is something that, you know, you've had experience with through the dating process, and I have with my clients also. We don't always agree on all topics. Health, finances, location, there's like all these hot topics, and you're definitely not going to agree on all of them. So like health, yeah, okay, so it's one of those many topics, just like money and where you're going to live and what you're going to do. Like you're going to have to navigate through it. Yeah, this is one of them. We're going to have to navigate through it also.
Awesome, thanks. I'm going to take this question. Is it hypocritical if I'm overweight but not attracted to overweight partners? The short answer, no. Everyone's attracted to what they're attracted to. Not all thin people marry thin people, and not all fat people marry fat people. That's not the way it works. And so if you happen to be in a larger body and you are not attracted to other people in a larger body, that's fine. You don't have to be.
I love it. I don't really have it. I don't have anything more to say. I love it.
Okay. All right.
I also see, no, I was going to say on the chat, I do see that somebody said we didn't get to the question about being an introvert and how to get comfortable on a first date when it takes a while to get them to come out of their shell. Sorry, I see my internet keeps popping off.
Yeah.
Jim runs the world. Okay. Yeah, right?
Did you want to answer that?
Yeah. Am I back yet?
I mean, we hear you, so.
Yeah, okay, great. So first of all, I deal with this often when I'm coaching, because most people are moving at two different speeds. One side is more extroverted and talkative, and one side is more introverted and quiet, or maybe they're both quiet and reserved, and this is difficult. Whatever the situation is, I always tell them, first of all, we're not pushing you out of your comfort zone to be someone or something that you're not. That's number one. Number two is we want you to be comfortable enough that you can have a conversation and you can keep things going. So doing practice conversations, talking about where else in your life you can get comfortable. And if you're just uncomfortable in dates, that's one thing. But if you're introverted in life, you're probably in general more quiet and reserved, and you're not schmoozing with everybody around town. So I have sometimes had my introverts practice with other people. So in the days of getting out and about, even the grocery store clerks, you know, like not just to say hi and thank you and swiping your card, but like, hi, and how are you today? And what's doing? And just not learn, but practice the art of conversation and schmoozing, not to have any other outcome than a connection with another human being. Because the more that you do it everywhere else in your life, the more easy it will be for you to do it in your dating life, because it becomes a part of who you are. And the other person should know, like, yeah, he or she takes a little bit of time to come out of their shell. And so don't expect amazing results on the first date. Like, not what it's going to be. Like, they're going to pop later on. So just like stick with it, make sure that there's something there and you're enjoying their company. But this might not be the easiest thing on a first date.
Thank you. All right, Aleeza, this question is for you. Is it possible that the people I'm dating, the wording's a little
Wait,
bit.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Read through that again. I'm just going to do a follow-up comment, because it says, I know how to schmooze. It's dating that's hard. So if you know how to schmooze and it's dating that's difficult for you, then we need to figure out the topics that you should be schmoozing about when you're dating. Because if you know how to schmooze, then you've got half the skill. Then maybe it's the content, maybe it's the information. It's not just the person that you're with, because if you know how to schmooze, you could schmooze with them and have the right questions. Maybe it's that you're uncomfortable with the questioning of it. If it's just that you're uncomfortable because you freeze and you're in front of them and you're like, hi, good, how are you? And then you just have nothing to say because you're feeling tongue-tied. Okay, we can talk about that, but we do have to prep you to have something to roll off your tongue, because if you don't have anything that's rolling off your tongue, then you just smile, or you just, you know, sit there quietly, and it gets uncomfortable for you, and it might get uncomfortable for them also.
All right. So I'm going to summarize this question, but is it possible that things are coming up through dating that we have not necessarily thought about, and suddenly we're having to be more self-aware, and it's bringing up things that we haven't been self-aware of before?
Wait, this is like a mystery question here. This is like, if take it a little further for me.
Whoever asked that question, rephrase it and send it back into the chat. We have about 7 minutes left, so I'm going to get to a couple more. Aleeza, anything that popped up for you?
Let me go back to the question list.
Questions are like just coming in.
Okay. Someone asked this, and it's pretty specific, but I do think it's relevant. How can you get someone you're dating to care about eating healthy so that they are around to see their kids get married? This is for a second marriage.
You can't. And I thought about you when that question came in. I was like, I'm going to say you can't, and then throw it to Aleeza, because you can't get someone else to do something. I'm going to let Aleeza continue.
Okay, so I would agree with that. You can't get somebody else to do something without them being on board. But if this is somebody, let's just say you're going to get married, right? And if you're the one that loves to be in the kitchen and cook healthy food, I'm going to bet that they're going to start to eat healthier food. Now, not when they're out at the restaurant, and not when they're at their friend's house, but when they're sitting at your table, they're going to be eating whatever you're putting in front of them. And if your preference is for healthy food, then they're going to come to acquire a taste for it. And you don't have to shove the concept down their throat, because the healthy food is going to be there to go down their throat, and it's going to normally and naturally just entice them to see how healthy can also taste delicious and wonderful. But I agree with you. You can't change somebody. And so if you are into healthy foods and of that mindset, and the person that you're dating loves their, I don't know, burger and fries. I am making a judgment call that lettuce and tomato on your burger does not count as salad, but
it totally counts as salad.
I'm married to like a meatitarian, so I could tell you that's his favorite meal, and I would be totally happy being, you know, vegetarian and being, you know, health-minded. We have different food preferences, so I really feel for the person. Yeah, you can't change somebody. You just have to roll with it and accept who they are and what they like in the world, and just see if you can navigate a relationship. And if that doesn't have to be the be all and end all of it.
That's awesome. And I want to add something to that. This is usually something that I work on with clients for themselves, but I think that it is equally relevant here, which is, don't worry so much about taking out the less nutritious foods and shifting away from what you're used to, especially if what you're used to is a less nutritious eating habits. Focus on putting in more of the nutritious stuff. So again, if you're in a relationship with this person, if you're going to be married and you're going to be the one serving the food, don't get on top of him about like, don't be eating that and don't be eating that.
Or
and why did
her.
you buy that? No, I'm just asking because that's how the question was phrased. I'm just answering this. But yes, it goes both ways, 100%. But really focus on getting more, like just more nutritious foods. Once that's available and you're not sort of pulling away the other stuff, like Aleeza said, there's often a tendency to get more comfortable, get more used to the healthier options, just because that's what our bodies naturally crave. That's what makes us feel good. And when it's there and it's available, it's great. But when it becomes available at the same time that something that I like is being pulled away from me, and now I'm not allowed to have that, it totally changes the game. So the best way to put it forward is to let him do his thing, but you give him more of the better stuff.
Great. Okay, what else? You have one more question you want to throw out there, and then we'll wrap it up?
I see there's a really long one here, which means that someone put time into reading it, but I didn't get a chance to review it yet. And I'm not sure I'm totally following it. Lisa, do you want to take that one?
Well, I can't see the Q&A box. It disappeared from...
What?
I keep getting bumped off and it never popped back on. I don't know why.
Okay. Ooh, wait. I'm going to follow
like a 1 minute question.
Okay, I'm going to follow up with this one. If I always need to be careful of the food I have in my home, is it a thing to look for someone who's also a healthy eater? Oh, I just want to know if that's like a medical thing, or is that like personal choice? That's my first question. But Aleeza, what would you say to that?
I would say it's going to be difficult to live with somebody who's not respectful of that. So if somebody has totally different food preferences and choices, I think that it's going to be difficult to stick with somebody long term, where you constantly have like my food shelf and your food shelf, and I make this and you don't eat it, and then you have to make something for yourself and you eat that, and then we're constantly on just a different food plan. And I think like topic wise, this has nothing to do with weight. This just has to do with preferences. So you want to find somebody whom you have things in common with, and especially around foods, it does make a difference. Having said that, I've seen people with different food preferences make it work. But if you have specific needs and you find it difficult and you need somebody to be supportive of that, I would say look for somebody who's on the same page.
All right. Awesome. We are at 9:30, and I believe that you have a meeting. not that I'm keeping track of your schedule.
I have clients. 9 to midnight are my work hours, and I have clients till midnight tonight. So first of all, I want to thank everybody for joining us tonight and for being here, because I think that this was an extremely sensitive topic. And somebody said in the chat box, I would have never gone to a lecture in person on this topic, but only because this was a safe environment where you don't have to reveal yourselves. You can ask, your questions and we can answer them. There was a place for us to have this discussion. I want to say to anybody who walks away from this and they're like, oh, either that wasn't what I wanted, or you offended me or upset me, I am sorry. We really had the best of intentions to bring something strong, something good, something worthwhile to look at, to talk about. And the topic is heated. And when you have a heated topic, you are always going to get pushback. You're going to get lovers and haters. So if you're upset by this, I sincerely, genuinely apologize and want you to know that we meant to do the topic justice. And we really care about people. So we really want to be here to support you. Maybe Sara, you can tell us how they can find you and to learn more about you and what you do, and tell us a little bit.
Yeah, and I'm just going to piggyback off of Aleeza and say what she said, totally same for me. I'm a little bit more straightforward and don't beat around the bush. And I need to learn to maybe soften up a little bit, but definitely this was 100% with the best of intentions. And I really, really hope that you walked away with something that could be helpful for you. So as I said, I work with single women through this whole process of building confidence, positive body image, healthy relationship with food and body, and all of that stuff. And my prices are going up tomorrow, so I'm just going to let you know that. But we start with a 3-session bundle that is $225 starting May 1st, which is tomorrow. It goes up to $300. So if that's something that you were interested in, I'm going to put the link. Well, we're going to sign off in a second. So just go to Instagram. I'm at Fit Jewess. and you can find a link there to just book a free discovery call just to chat for a little bit, see if you feel that we would be a good fit for coaching. And I did leave my schedule open till 12:30 tonight because, like I said, prices are going to go up tomorrow. So if anyone wants to get in on that tonight, again, it's at Fit Jewess. There we go. Aleeza just typed it. And yes, this was recorded. And so anyone who signed up for this webinar will get the recorded. You'll get the replay on Sunday, I believe. And for anyone who didn't sign up, but you think they would like to get this, they will be able to sign up after the fact and get the replay. And that's still up on the website the same way that you signed up now. Anything I'm missing?
No, that's great. If you want any dating or relationship coaching, you can find me at marriagemindedmentor.com. And you could work with me. You could work with one of my coaches. We have a whole team of people that are very motivated to support people through the dating process. And additionally, we have 2 fantastic online programs. One is called Dating Detox, which is meant to help people kind of clear out their dating past and make a plan for the future. And the other one is called Daters Academy. And Daters Academy has 5 different programs in it, and it walks you through dating profiles and how to describe what you're looking for accurately so you can get better suggestions and a whole perspective shift. There's fantastic content and materials that come in videos and worksheets, and it's just wonderful. And you can learn about everything on my website, which is marriagemindedmentor.com. That's a lovely mouthful, I know. And you can also connect with me on Facebook or Instagram, and we will send you an email with lots of good information if you would like to catch up with us and join us in any way and do anything in the future.
Awesome. Thank you so much for being here. I appreciate it. Have a good night.
Thank you.
Oh, I need to end the meeting. Good night.
Bye.